So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's unbelievable.
The highs that I have reached with my clapping.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, you were born to shine.
And my 1% talent is clapping.
It's unbelievable how successful.
Yeah.
And just, you're at the top, the creme de la creme of clappers.
If there was a clapping Olympics,
You'd win.
I'd be the gold medalist.
Totally.
Yes.
Gold medalist. Pumps, what have you had it with?
Oh my God. This is like, I can't even believe it. I've had it with strangers interrupting two people having a conversation. And let me tell you, the most egregious example that's ever happened in the history of the world happened to me. So I'm at lunch with my sister-in-law. It's kind of a fancy, cute place.
Okay.
So this man comes and sits down the table over.
Okay.
He's alone. He's not so old that he's senile, but he's not young enough that he should not have known better. It's probably like 60s-ish.
Okay. So, this is a full-fledged adult.
This is a man.
Okay.
Grown-ass man.
Okay.
So she and I are talking. He starts jumping into the conversation, like adding his 2 cents about what we're saying. And both of us are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is weird. So then we both kind of turn our backs to where he's at the back and start kind of whispering.
The nonverbal cues.
The nonverbal cues are
Right.
going out like crazy.
Okay.
Still doesn't get it.
Not picking up what you're putting down.
Not picking it up. It got so bad that after we had our appetizer, we canceled the rest of the order and left. It was so bad. We would have had more peace at a McDonald's with a playground. This guy shut the fuck up.
You know what this is? All roads lead to what, Pumps?
Yak mouths. Yak mouth. Yak mouth. Yak mouth.
mouths. They're everywhere.
All the time.
Lack self-awareness, cannot follow social cues, cannot follow anything. And if you go to a restaurant by yourself,
Right.
be by yourself.
Take a book. Get on your phone. Daydream.
Do you remember that nightmare flight we took when we were going to Mexico?
Where you went bananas? Yes, I did.
Well, there was a drunk couple
Right.
sitting in front of us.
Yes.
And what were they doing?
Yak mouth. Yak mouth.
What
yak
were they
mouth.
doing, though? They were butting into our conversation.
They were climbing over the seat to butt into the conversation.
They were sitting in front of us, and her face would appear through the cracks, and then she'd climb up over. It's like the 5 a.m. flight, and these fuckers for sure pulled an all-nighter and are hammered dog shit drunk.
Yes.
And they kept on, and they kept on, and they kept on. And listener, this is the famous line. I think we've talked about this before, where Pumps looked at everybody, and she looked at me, and she said, Jenny's going to blow.
She's going to blow.
And I blew.
And
I told them, I was like, quit butting into our conversations. I've had it. I've been saying I've had it my whole life. I told these people I've had it. We're on a girls' trip. We want to talk to each other. We don't want to talk to you anymore. I just point blank told her.
Yes, you did. And what was so funny about it is they acted like they were mortally wounded. Like it really hurt their feelings.
I was just like, we're not your friend. And you're the one that keeps jumping into our private conversation with your drunk ass. I still like retroactively have had it with that.
It was bad.
Do you know something I've also retroactively had it with?
What?
I've been meaning to talk to you about this. Sometimes you've had it with something for like in that era.
Right.
And then when you think about it, it's like, oh my God, I'd really had it with that. I remember when your kids were really little. My kids were really little. And so I'd load up my kids and would go to your house. And it could be a Monday, it could be a Thursday, it could be any day of the week. Walked into your house, reeked of bacon and sausage. And then I would go to your kitchen, and you had literally these giant plates full of bacon and another one full of sausage, and then usually a box of Krispy Kremes if it was like a Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
And I was always like incredulous. Like, did she not heard about like the cholesterol and the fat? And your kids would eat like 10 pieces of bacon and 4 pieces of sausage, and nobody thought anything about it. Like it was just totally normal. And it wasn't like a Saturday breakfast. It was 7 days a week.
Right.
Plates of bacon, plates of sausage. It was unbelievable.
I was thinking about that just the other day because I make for Luke breakfast every morning, and it includes either bacon or sausage every morning.
It's amazing that these kids haven't had triple bypasses. I mean, seriously, they have had a steady diet of bacon. And so I've never seen people eat that much bacon and sausage as your children, and everybody just serves it and everybody just acts like it's normal.
Right.
I've had it with that. Just wanted to revisit an old grievance of mine.
Yeah, no, it's ongoing.
So you're still doing it?
Yeah, the air fryer has changed my life.
I don't drive out to your house that much anymore since you moved out to the suburbs, and because I can't see a goddamn thing when I walk in there. But anyway, let me tell you what I've had it with.
Okay.
So, my youngest son, Roman, plays AAU basketball.
Right.
So he has 2 games a couple of Saturdays ago.
Okay.
The venue is about a 20 to 25 minute drive from our home.
Okay.
We go to the first game. I go in. I pay for Josh and I to get in, and they give you those little bracelets you have to wear.
Yes.
Josh parks the car. When he walks in, I go, "Here's your bracelet." Instead of putting it on his wrist, he sticks it in his front jean pocket.
Right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. So after Roman's first game, we have like an hour, 45-minute window. And Josh is like, "I want to go back to the house. I don't want to sit in this gym."
Right.
So we drive home, and then we sit there for 30 minutes, and then we drive back to the venue.
Right.
As we pull up, Josh goes, "Oh, I don't have my bracelet." And I go, "You stuck it in your front pocket." And he goes, "I changed jeans."
What? No, he didn't.
He did a costume change.
That's ridiculous.
And
that's ridiculous.
I said, "Josh, you are a psycho. Like, who does a costume change in between the first game and the second game?" And he said, "That lady, when I walk in, she's going to think I went home and changed my jeans because I shit my pants."
Why?
He didn't shit his pants, but a psycho did a costume change.
I'm sitting here thinking maybe we need to get Josh a hobby, something to put more energy into.
Here's the problem. He just started running again. And guess what happens with that?
He's obsessed with running.
No, running outfits, running merch.
Yeah.
He goes on one run, and then I'm like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I came to the running store." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
So we have to get all the running.
When he gets obsessed with tennis, he has 95,000 Rafa Nadal Babolat rackets. I mean, and he has to have 4 because he's like, "What if I break a string?" And then he's got all the merch, and he'll go through like a Roger Federer stage, and he's wearing all Roger merch. It's unbelievable. Like, he is the perfect candidate for like fucking egregious capitalism. I mean, he just falls prey to it like you would not believe. Every marketing person, it would be like, we need to make every single one of our customers as committed to this as Josh Welch is.
Yes. Okay. And then him immediately assuming that she would think he shit his pants.
Well, because you spot it, you got it. He has shit his pants.
No, I know, but I just think that's funny that he immediately assumed she thought he changed because he shit his pants.
Think about how crazy she's thinking I am. Like, they raced out. They only have like an hour 30. And then he comes back in a different pair of jeans. I mean, it's like, was this a shark gone wrong?
Yeah, I think that he's giving entirely too much credit to what the admissions lady thought about him and just wardrobe.
It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable, listener. It's unbelievable. And I'm so glad that I can just kind of like, oh my God, that is his neuroses.
Right.
Like, I just don't pay that much attention to it. But I had to mention it to you because Josh is one of your best friends.
Yeah.
And you get it on such a level of the intensity that he has about this stuff.
It's nutty.
Yeah. This goes to like inner childhood trauma, listeners, what it's from. But that's another podcast on another date.
That's right.
I would like to welcome everybody to I've Had It podcast. I am Jennifer.
I am Angie.
We call her Pumps. She is the star of the show. She's the hot one. She is the Princess Diana of podcasting.
Shut up.
No, I mean, that's just how it's going to be. You clap, and this is how I introduce you.
The princess
Let me have this.
Of podcasting.
You're the hot
claps.
one. You're the hot one. You're the star. Let me have this moment
to
tee you up.
All right.
Let me give you the proper introduction that you need.
Yeah, the deference.
Kylie, let's check in with you. What the hell is going on with our social media?
I've got some debauchery.
Let's hear
good.
it. Let's hear it.
I'm going to read this comment, and then I'm going to tell the listener who wrote it after.
Okay.
I feel sorry for Jennifer's cat. She's very ill. Although Jennifer is attentive to her, Why does she insult the poor animal on a podcast? Jennifer, who wrote that?
My mother.
I mean, fucking Linda for the win on that. That is fantastic.
Linda's out here trolling me on social media.
Well, you trolled her on social media, so turnabout is fair play.
Tit for tat, Mom. Tit for tat. She's like, why is Jennifer out trashing her cat on a podcast? And listener, my mother would kind of say it like this. And I don't know why Jennifer's out there trashing her cat on a podcast.
Yes. And the older you get, the more you sound like her. I mean, I think it's just inevitable.
My mother
with all
is
of us.
incredibly dry, like very dry humor. She's hilarious. Okay, who's next?
We got a comment on Instagram from Lil Hunt 16. My wife and I love your show, but it has come at a cost. We can't agree on who's the hottest. I think it's Jennifer. My wife thinks it's Pumps. It has torn our family apart. I've been sleeping on the couch for the past week, and I'm considering budging and just agreeing with her. But I'm not a bitch. Jennifer is obviously the hottest.
Lil Hunt, stand your ground. Lil Hunt, you have to stand your ground. I mean, Pumps gets all the accolades. I have very few people that are willing to do this for me. So Lil Hunt, I love you. And I'm sorry about the family problems. I hope your wife doesn't change clothes in between, an hour window of basketball games. But I love Lil Hunt.
I have a feeling he's going to succumb
He's
at
gonna
some
cave.
point because he's going to want to have sex.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's right.
She's going to win, Lil Hunt.
She's going to win. So take your victory lap now.
At some point, you're going to be adding old Pumps to that spank bank.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Okay, listener, we have a guest today, and she is a sex guru, or as Pumps would say,
Guru.
So her name is Emily Morse. She is the author of Smart Sex. Let's welcome Dr. Emily to I've Had It. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
We are fantastic. We are so happy to have you on. We received copies of your book.
Yes.
And there is a lot of insightful information
Yes.
in this little sex book of yours, Emily.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so glad you like it.
We loved
Smart
it.
sex.
Smart
Yeah.
sex, because nobody likes dumb sex.
No, exactly. I thought who's going to say, you know what? I'm good. I'm good with the mediocre to dumb sex. Like,
Right.
let's be smarter, right?
And
We
I
can all
think-
be smarter.
I think there's a lot of dumb sex out there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's how I started my career. I was like, I'm having so much bad, dumb sex. I mean, come on, let's make this smarter and better.
Well,
Yeah.
Emily, we like to talk about what people have had it with. We think there's too much attention on how to make yourself a better person. And we feel strongly that one avenue that you can make yourself better is to get stuff off your chest, is to vent with your girlfriends, your guy friends. So tell us what you've had it with.
I've had it with shame around sex toys. I've had it with people not using enough lube. I've had it with stigma around lube. If I have to say to one more person, like, oh, I don't need lube. I'm like, lube is not about needing it. It makes your sex life better.
I have to tell you, Emily, that I heard you on another podcast that I love, and you were talking about the lube. And I mean, I had never even thought about it, went and got me some lube.
Wait, hold the
Because of
phone.
Emily. Yes.
But
so
wait,
much better.
wait.
Yes.
Right.
You are a sexual anorexic. Who are you using the lube with?
I'm just saying, if you masturbate with lube, it's better. I didn't
Better.
know that
Yes,
until
exactly. Thank you.
Dr. Emily. And I
Thank you.
also made my son, where you were talking about the porn and how it sets up terrible expectations, blah, blah, blah. I had my child captive in my car, like 14-year-old son, and I made him listen to it. And I thought he was going to fall out the car. He was so embarrassed. But it's like, you need to know this information. Did you hear what she just said? Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
right. Yeah. So
I'm so glad you did that. That's it. They're not going to want to hear you talk about sex. Your kids
Right.
are not going to be very excited about it, but that's how change happens. Where else are they going to hear it from? Porn, and porn, as we know, is not accurate. So
Right.
I appreciate that you did that. Just
Well-
keep having the conversation.
And we have teenage kids, and I think there's two ways that people look at sex. And number one is this abstinence only culture. and which produces a lot of shame around sex. And we live in the buckle of the Bible Belt, and this seems to be a popular method here. And not surprisingly, we have very high teen pregnancy rates. And then they have their church or their parents or, peers pressuring them to push this down. And the result of that is people have a lot of sexual disorders and sexual problems later in life.
This shame spiral is real, and it takes years to deprogram that, to reprogram your mind. And I just think if you think about it, if that's your earliest message, it just doesn't go away. And so I really want to encourage parents to talk to their kids about puberty and hormones and what's happening. Just give it to them straight. Like, this is what's going to happen. And I know that parents are like, oh God, that's awful. But what's the alternative? The alternative, we see the alternative, right? The alternative is that kids grow up and they just feel really, bad about themselves and their bodies and any sexual activities they partake in.
Yeah, I think it's super important. Pumps, tell her about your experience.
So this is a true story. When you were talking about, the shame, you don't talk about sex. Growing up, kids are told it's bad, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that was me straight down the line. So the very first time I ever had sex, I was 150,000% convinced when I stepped my foot down that hell would open up. Satan would reach, grab me, take me down. So I did the first foot and I was like, okay, I'm good. Did the second foot. And then I was like, oh my God, nothing happened. This shit is fun. Now I'm in. But I remember thinking that as clear as day.
Oh,
okay. So let me ask you this. So you are incredibly attractive, darling, and you are, sexually smart. So when you date a guy and they get in bed with you, are they intimidated? Do you get a lot of soft serves? Like, how do you handle what your career is with the male ego and how it attaches to their penis?
That's
how
a
do you
great
navigate
question.
that?
Oh God, I've been doing this a long time. I have to say that early on, perhaps that was a little bit more. Well, maybe it is intimidating now. I could see that because it is true that men are raised to believe, or they just societally believe that they are the masters of the universe. They should be the best in bed,
right?
And so when they come into my bedroom, they're like, I'm sure they're a little bit intimidated. However, it's not that I'm sitting there with a bullhorn being like, to the left, right, what are you doing? Like, that's not my clitoris. Like, I don't pull out my vulva puppet and be like, have you not seen where all my nerve endings are? I don't do that. I'm actually like kind of, and I'm a nice person. I'm kind of a pleaser in some ways. So but I think that hopefully, here's the thing, guys who are, I guess, intimidated or who have the confidence. So I don't know. I think they get through it. I think there's some that afterwards tell me like, oh God, I was really, really nervous. I'm like, you're fine. I mean, the thing about being smart sexually though, is that it's not about the moves. It's to be a great lover, you have to like pay attention, be present, go slow, care about your partner's needs, not be all about your own and like hammering away. So I think it's not that hard to be a great lover if you just really care about the person that you're with and you're curious.
It's kind of the same thing we talk about in our podcast when people irritate us. Lack of self-awareness, not being intuitive, not taking cues. We say social cues when we're talking about but sexual cues. It's kind of the same sort of process that would translate when you're in line waiting to go somewhere, waiting to get something done. You apply that same type of intuition to the bedroom. And I think that one thing that you just touched on that I think is really important, and I wish more people would pay attention to this, is it can be equally satisfying to please another person as it is yourself. And I think a lot of men, it's just men and sex, it's a whole different beast than women and sex. Like their egos are wrapped up into it more than our emotions are kind of more wrapped up into it, just as a default setting. Mm. And then after you get, in a relationship with somebody for a while, at least for me as a woman, when I'm more comfortable, I'm a lot more extroverted in the bed than I am initially. So in that vein, we want to ask you this. So you start dating a guy, okay, and you're having pretty pedestrian sex at first, okay, because you're just testing the waters. At what time frame do you think it's appropriate to roll out a kink?
Oh gosh, I think it's appropriate to roll it out. I don't think you have to wait necessarily. I don't know what's. Give me an example.
Okay,
give me a kink example.
Okay, let's say that a guy is really into anal. And like, if I went out with a guy and like date 2, he's like, I'm super into anal, I would be like, I'm super out. Like, I'm done.
Okay.
And I would appreciate that he rolled that out initially, you know? Some of my gay friends have told me like really weird stories, like where they go on a date with somebody and like, you know, right out of the gate, date 1, the guy's like, hey, I'm going to put these socks on and I want you to fuck my feet with the socks. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Date 1 right out of the gates?
Yeah.
It's a minefield out there.
It really is. And I think we can learn a lot from the gay community in many ways. That's great because a lot of it is, well, I guess a lot of my gay friends, like, you know, I want to know. I'm just I did for the sex. I'm not looking for a relationship. And we want to like clear it. Like, are we into the same things? And I think there's a happy medium here. What we see is most people do not talk about sex at all. I mean, so what I'm proposing here to live a smarter, sexier life is for people to have these conversations early and often about sex. And so rather than, I mean, I can't tell you how many people listen to the show, call into Sex with Emily and say, I have been together 15 years. We've never talked about sex. How do I get my partner to talk about this? What do we do? So I think that it's, I mean, I get that more than not, like more so than not, people are not comfortable talking about it. I do think that the world that I want everyone to live in, we're not there yet. So on the first date being like, hey, like, where should we go for dinner? Are you into like, you know, Italian food? And I'm really into anal. How about you? Is not, it doesn't always like roll off the tongue. And it's awkward because we're not there yet. However, I do love the idea of when you're getting into it and you start to know that the sex is going to happen or you're comfortable with each other to kind of have a conversation with you need sort of foreplay even for the conversation, being like, oh, so I'm really, you know, what are you into? What are your turn-ons? What do you like in bed? Because then you get to know if someone has like a growth mindset around sex or if they're completely shut down. But what I realize is that what I offer on my show is that I normalize the conversation around sex. It's like, listen to how the way I talk about it, I normalize it. Like I literally want people to talk about sex like they're talking about the weather. Like it's sunny with a chance of orgasms. Like let's just talk about it. And then it's also having affirmations. And even if it's like in your phone and you're telling yourself, you write notes and like you're, you know, like you're saying like, I am a sexual healthy person deserving of pleasure. I deserve pleasure. My body's, you know, and that's why you also
need to do that.
Mantra.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I worry
good.
about Pump. She's kind of like a sexual anorexic, Emily.
Yeah, I can totally
What do you mean? Tell me more about that.
Well, I can go for years without having sex with 0 issues.
Do you remember a time when you were into sex?
For sure, college, law school. Yeah, when I was younger. I think it just became a check mark on the list. Like, what have I got to do today? Go to the grocery store, have sex, you know, check.
Do you think any of that's from like all the religious indoctrination?
Well, it would have to be.
Right?
It would totally have to be, yeah.
There you go. I mean, I think that's absolutely. I mean, from what you were telling me, thinking that you were going to go up in flames after the first time you had sex, that doesn't, right? We just
doesn't bode well.
Evaporate. No, well, no, but now we know. Now we know. And so that would take, really like affirmations. You're deserving of pleasure, masturbation. I love that you bought lube because listen, that's the other thing is that self-exploration is just really important to understand our own bodies and rebuild our relationships to our bodies and realize, oh, I give myself an orgasm and then you'll start sex begets sex. So the more sex we have, the more sex we want. So it's a multi-pronged approach. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question on that. Asking for a friend, wink, wink. So how many vibrator options should you have? Like, does one, after you use it for a while, get stale? Should you flip over? How does all that work?
That's a great question. The great thing is our bodies are covered in nerve endings that feel really great when stimulated. And so I think that I have so many, hundreds and hundreds, but I've had every vibrator on set. I literally do. That's the one intimidating part. Maybe when people date me, I'm like, I've got rows, like my whole room is just like vibrators. Okay. But I think a great handheld vibrator that like fits in the palm of your hand. There's so many great. If you go to sexwithemily.com, I've got like a lot of guides to, or buy Smart Sex. I actually have pictures of all the different kinds of vibrators. I don't think that you need all of them. I love just like a handheld clitoral vibe is a great place to start. Just like a wand that's external because you can also use it as a massager.
Okay, Emily, now we want to play a game with you called Had It or Hit It. So you can tell us if you had it with these things or if you like it, meaning you would hit it. Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it.
Had it.
Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day. Okay. Had it or hit it, pegging.
I'd hit it.
See, that intimidates me, the thought of that.
I just recently found out what this was, listener. And so what it is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is a woman will strap on a dildo and then anally penetrate her
Yes.
male partner. And that's pegging. So
It's called pegging.
You'd hit it.
I'd hit it. I mean, hey, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum.
Okay. Had it or hit it, glory holes.
Honestly, I'd hit it. I'm not gonna. Yeah,
What-
I mean,
I don't know what that
listen,
is.
I'm not saying for me a glory hole. And let me just. So first off, let's go back to the pegging thing. Is that men have a prostate, and when the prostate is stimulated with a finger, a toy, another penis, if you're with men, it can feel incredible when it's like the male G spot. So that's what pegging is, and so I can understand though you're reversing roles. Some men are
Right.
like, oh, I want to know what it feels like. So, and the glory hole became really popular, like in the gay community, like our bathhouses where basically men stick their penis through a hole and in a wall, and then someone goes up and has sex with them or sucks them. And so really they can't see their face. And
Oh my gosh, I've never heard of such a thing.
I have.
Wow.
I have a
Yeah,
ton of
it's
gay
popular.
friends. And I'm going to say this.
Is it still popular?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
during the pandemic, it came back too. They said,
Oh.
I went to Aspen a few years ago for gay ski week with one of my gay friends. And so we had so much fun. And I'm like, totally like, I want to be on your grinder. And I really appreciated the frank talk around sex on this app. So of course I'm totally impersonating my friend. And I'm like, hey, where are you? It tells where the other person is, but they immediately get down to the nitty gritty. Like, how big are you? Cut or uncut? Are you a top? Are you a bottom? Everything is
It's
pre-negotiated.
like a menu. You're ordering
It's
off
very
a menu.
transactional. They each want something off of each other. It's very consensual. And it would be like, is this going to be a compatible hookup or is it not? And I was like, first I was kind of shocked. And then I was like, you know what? This is really fantastic.
Pretty efficient.
They're prearranging what they want. They both have a sexual need. They both have a sexual drive. They're negotiating the terms, figuring out if they're compatible. And then they would hook up. And then that would be the end of it. And I'm just like, this is really actually incredibly intelligent.
Right. And efficient.
Yes.
exactly. Well, this is what going back to the conversation earlier. How great if we get to that point, with straight couples too, that we could start to talk about sex. It doesn't have to be like top or bottom cut, send me a picture of your penis or your breast. We don't have to do that stuff, but there's some version of that would make our lives so much easier. I have something on my website called the Yes, No, Maybe list, and it's a free guide that people can download at sexwithemily.com. And it has like 80 sex acts on it, from like things like kissing, but it has anal, it has dirty talk. It says, is it a yes? Is it a no? Or is it a maybe? And then it's like gives people a menu essentially so they can compare with their partner and be like, well, what are we both into? Let's start there.
Right. Okay. Had it or hit it, mail order brides.
Oh God, I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I probably had it. No, I have had it. I was thinking had it. No, you got to figure out who someone is. No,
Right.
Figure out who someone is ahead of time. That's not going to go
That
well.
goes back to the having sex for the first time on your wedding night. I mean, just
Exactly. That's exactly what I was
ruinous.
gonna say.
Exactly.
Ruinous.
Exactly.
I mean, imagine waiting your whole life and then the first time you have it, you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
This is what
Oh.
all the fuss is about.
Right.
I mean, horrible. I feel sorry for people like that.
Sometimes a lot of the foreplay and blowjobs, and if these kids are doing anal versus vaginal, there's a lot more work and process into that. When they finally get to vaginal sex, if that's the thing they waited for, that can feel rather disappointing because you're probably talking it's going to be a 2-pump chump, and then it's over. Because
The worst.
some people here, I didn't grow up with religion at all, but some kids here, like when you hear of people that get married when they're 22 or 21, you immediately know they're virgins and they're already fucking, and they have to get married immediately to acquiesce to the religious stressors. And I'm just saying, we have a lot of international listeners that probably don't know this, but in the South, where there's this like mega church culture, it is the shame with sex, with heterosexual sex outside of marriage, gay sex is, they hammer that shit like you would not believe. And I see it in my adult friends, and I see it in like pumps, and I see it everywhere. I see it in some of my kids, my teenage sons that have friends, where these kids are just tortured by something that is so natural that we're hardwired to do. Okay. Had it or hit it, Kegels.
I hit it. Kegels are important.
I agree.
Pelvic floor. Yeah, we got to build the pelvic floor.
I agree.
I mean,
with
some people have pain if they do too many Kegels. But for many of us, men and women, Kegels are an important part of those are the muscles responsible for orgasm. Strengthen them like you do your biceps at the gym, do your Kegels.
Pumps, you should start doing some right now.
How do you know I'm not?
Okay. Had it or hit it, faking orgasms.
I've had it. It's not a good message you're sending someone. First off, they're thinking of the king of the world. Like, oh my God, everyone's orgasming. That's not good. No, you got to be real. Prioritize your pleasure.
What do you think the percentage of women that have faked orgasms is?
I think it's very high. I think it's majority of women. I think 9 out of 10 women have faked it at some point.
I was going to say
I
like
totally
99.9%.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I believe that. And that's why I actually started my career. The first line in the book is essentially like I faked orgasms until I was 35. I was like, this is done. Like, what?
So
what
you had it. You had it with that. And
I'd had it.
You launched the career like no more faking of orgasms.
Literally,
Start talking about sex. Get out of the shame. I have fucking had it.
That's it. That was my platform. Like no one fake. Like if I was running for office.
I like it. I like it. I think your messaging is so important because there is an increase right now, currently in 2023. There seems to be an increase in sexual shaming, both in the heterosexual community and in the homosexual community. Like in our state, they just made a total abortion ban, which is further shaming women and taking away their privacy. And so I think conversations like this need to be brought to the forefront because the problem is it's typically a fever pitch minority that does this, but their screaming is so fever pitch. But the majority of us, all of our listeners, all of your listeners, we're not wound up like a cheap clock. We're not just some handmaid tale prudes that are scared to get laid or scared to talk about orgasms. And I think the majority of us are that. So we need to make our voices heard.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so glad you're saying all this. It's a great reminder for all of us that we really are in 2023. There's a lot going on, especially in America, where it is not boding well for women's pleasure and for women's rights and for feeling good in the bedroom. So yeah, thank you.
We're definitely going backwards in 2023.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had it or hit it, pubic hair.
I'd hit it.
So you like
I'm fine.
I'm fine with it too. Like we grew up, all of us are 80s girls.
Yeah, so we were John Bon Jovi hairband girls back in the day.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a time that Kiss had nothing on me downstairs.
Most of the men that are our age, like, because now the kids, and we have a lot of really young listeners. I mean, that's a full blown, Brazilian. There's no pubic hair down there. Most men that I would say are 40 and over, they have this instinct like, oh no, a woman's got to have a little hair down there. It is a very feminine like turn on for them to think about a woman having, it doesn't have to be, a full blown 1970s porn bush, but a little landing strip or some form of that this person has been through puberty,
Exactly.
Okay. Pumps has a game for you now.
Okay. We have a game that we like to play. I'm sure you've played it before. Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
So we've got Armie Hammer, Hugh Grant, Tiger Woods.
Oh my God. You guys, it's too early here for the wait, this is hard. Fuck, marry, or kill. Okay. Oh my God. I guess I'd marry Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he's cute. I mean, he overcame his sex scandal pretty well.
He did.
Wait, yeah. I guess I would kill Armie Hammer and I would fuck Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
I think that is that's exactly what I would have done.
5 stars. Okay, one more.
You're not off the hook.
Not yet. Stormy Daniels, Pamela Anderson, or Queen Camilla.
Okay, I would marry Pamela Anderson. I'm really into her. You guys see her book and her documentary, all that.
Yes.
She's working on herself. She's done the work.
Yeah,
totally. I totally agree.
And she's still hotter than a biscuit.
So hot. I know. What's going on with that? Okay, so I would marry her. Wait, who's the other one? Say it again.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels. I guess I would kill her. And oh God. Wait, what's the other one?
Camilla.
Oh no. I guess I would fuck her. I'd fuck Stormy.
I would fuck Stormy too.
Yeah, I'd fuck Stormy.
Yeah.
You guys put a lot of thought into this.
We did.
Gotta have a sex scandal behind it. So you're gonna kill Queen Camilla.
The Queen's going down.
Yeah.
The Queen's going down. Same answers here.
Same. exactly.
Yes.
Well
Same
reasoned.
answers here. They're very well reasoned.
Yep.
They're very well thought out. You get an A+. We love having you on. This is, I think, such an important conversation, and I commend you so much for normalizing this. And to all of our listeners who have grown up having sexual shame, please find your way to Emily's podcast. She's been doing it a lot longer
Yes.
than we have. She was on the ground floor podcasting.
Yes, you were.
Her book is fantastic. She sent us 2 copies, and Pumps and I have been studying it rigorously.
I even highlighted mine, Emily.
She did.
Huge.
She
I brought
did.
I've got my highlighter out.
Listener, go to sexwithemily.com and find out more, because this woman is onto something.
Yep.
She's liberating all of us from the shame so that we too can enjoy sex just like everybody else and not be a nut about it.
Right, like the Europeans.
Like the Europeans.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I want to have more pleasure. That's true. And also, yeah, the book is Smart Sex. You can buy it wherever you buy your books. My podcast is Sex with Emily, which I do twice a week on all your podcast platforms, and all social is Sex with Emily.
Emily, you are drop dead gorgeous.
Yes.
Sharp as a tack. We absolutely love you. Loved having you on. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You guys are fantastic. Thank you
Okay.
for having me.
So much fun.
Okay. Bye, Emily.
Bye, Emily.
So I bet men are kind of intimidated because
They have to.
she's
to
so
be.
good looking.
Beautiful.
I mean, completely sexually liberated.
Totally.
Not a drop of shame.
Nope.
Not a drop of guilt. She is like, I am a woman. I have a clitoris. I have nerve endings. I have a vagina. I have tits, and I intend to enjoy them
Right.
with zero guilt, zero judgment. And I love this because, listener, I'm serious. Where we live in the whole southern states, there is so much shame put around sex. We need to all change that form of indoctrination when you're indoctrinating your children that feeling sexual pleasure is dirty, because the damage from that is lifelong and it's massive.
Yeah, I just think I can't wait to take the quiz or whatever her recommendations, the 80 sexual positions. I don't think I could think of 80. Like, I would bet you out of the 80 that she has on her website, I could probably only identify what they were, about 5.
Well, you're sexually anorexic, so it sounds like the only
Right,
thing you
but
could
how
do
many-
is put dildo on clit is maybe the only thing you might recognize.
Okay, but how many do you think you could recognize?
I mean, I haven't lived under a rock. I'm sure that
You think you could go, I bet you couldn't go more than 10.
for sure I could go more than 10.
You think? Okay, we're going
Yes.
to test that.
Yeah, but I
Maybe
wasn't
20.
raised with all this religious shame. I mean, sexual shame.
I know,
like
but do you keep up with all the crazy stuff that kids are doing now?
Pumps?
I didn't know what.
I hate to bring adults are having sex too.
No, I know, but I didn't know what pegging was. I didn't know what a glory hole is. So I think I'm probably way on the Puritan list.
I think so. I had it. I fucking had it.
Fucking
Listener,
had it.
send us a voice memo on our Instagram to be featured on our Thursday bonus episodes. Sometimes we surprise you and we roll those out on Tuesday if
Right.
we think they're particularly funny.
Just to see if you're paying attention.
Yeah, we do. And you need to go give us 5 stars, write a review, subscribe, all that stuff.
We will see you next Tuesday or Thursday
Or Thursday, Tuesday, or Thursday.
or both.
I think it's not or both. It is both.
It's both.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, listener.
I'll tell you what I've had it with.